All right, we have today here CY, comedian, actor, businessman, oga, everything.
Yep.
How are you, sir?
Man, I'm good. Great. Life is good. That's what I'll say.
I like to hear that. Thank you so much for coming for our interview. We're gonna have a fun time.
Yep.
All right.
Trust.
So we're gonna start. For the viewers who don't know you, and for the viewers who do know you, where are you from, and how did you grow up?
I used to make this joke and tell people I'm a half caste. You know, well, I'm half Cross River, half Akwa Ibom. But you know, where we come from, Nigeria, it's where your father comes from. That's where you're from. So
Right.
I'm from Cross River, but I practically grew up in the both states. I schooled in Cross River, schooled in Akwa Ibom, you know, and I also grew up in Lagos. Yeah.
Okay. So from there, you went to school. How did you transition from your schooling years to comedy? Fast forward all those years.
Wow. Well, I've always wanted to be in the arts as a kid. I just loved the arts. I remember in primary school, I used to, I don't know if you know, then they had the cultural group in school. I used to want to be a part of that. Then I usually sneak out of class to go for the cultural rehearsals.
Right.
So I was drawn to the arts, you know, at a very early stage in life, but I didn't really know that I was going to end up, you know, doing comedy and all that. It was when I remember in secondary school, you know, when your friends are actually trying to pick what they want to do,
Right.
study in school. You know, when you get into the final year in high school,
Right.
and this one says, "I'm a lawyer. I want to study law." So I just said I want to study law, but deep down me, I knew it's not something I wanted to do. But I ended up, you know, studying theater arts.
Okay.
Because after secondary school, I discovered I wanted the arts. Then I asked someone, I'm like, is there anything that you can study to be in the arts, like an actor or something? And I remember in the compound we lived, the guy said, yes, oh, actually, it's called theater arts. I was like, okay, that sounds like something I want to do.
Right.
You know, so fast forward, got into school, studied theater. I wanted to be an actor. And then I saw this guy on stage doing comedy. He was actually acting, but he was so funny.
Wow.
And I discovered he was a student in school, but he was already on television doing stuff. It was doing sitcoms. His name is Yo. I don't know if you know Yo.
Yo.
Yes.
Okay.
He was my classmate. He was a year my senior year in school. And his real name is Steve Onu. And I was like, I want to be like this guy. And then that's when I started knowing that there's something like stand-up comedy. Although when I was a lot younger, I watched Delirious. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what it was. I just knew it was something funny, but I didn't know it was stand-up comedy.
Right.
So it was when I got into the university, I started seeing comedians, you know, and all that. Then I was like, okay, this is something I love to do.
So quick question. So how did you tell your parents or mom or dad or, you know, that you want to study theater, you want to study the arts?
Then let me, I grew up without a father. I never knew my father up until after I finished university.
Okay.
Yeah, that was when I knew my father. I saw him for the first time. So it was the battle between myself and my mom.
Okay.
Although I did also grow up with my mom, I started leaving my mom, I think when I think about the age, when my first year in high school.
Okay.
So I was raised by a foster mother, you know. So leaving my mom, told my mom, that I want to study theater arts.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing she asked me, are you going to make money from it?
Right.
My mom is she's not one of those Nigerian parents that actually put so much pressure on their kids. She just wanted me to do well in life.
Right.
That's all my mom wanted. If it's something you know you're going to do, and it's something you know you're going to do well, the bottom line is money. Are you going to make money from it?
Right.
And I think that's what African parents want,
Sure.
so that you come and take care of them.
Sure.
So when I told her, she was like, "Are you going to make money from it?" I'm like, "Yes." I think the people that gave me problems were my uncles. Remember, one of my uncles asked me.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Where are you going to work with theater? Which bank or which
Right.
hospital is going to employ? He said you are going to just jump around and be dancing and." But I mean, it wasn't a problem with my mom anyway.
Okay. So since you graduated, you got your degree in theater arts.
Mm-hmm.
When did you officially start as a comedian? Do you remember your first gig?
I started in school.
Oh, okay.
I started while in the university because what happened was Steve Onuyo started doing shows in school.
Mm-hmm.
So then the Basket Mounts, the Omobaba and the rest of them,
Right.
they were already popping out. Night of a Thousand Laughs.
Sure, I remember.
So he was bringing them to school. So and I was like, wow, I need to do this. I want to get on stage. So one of the shows, he said, I went to meet him. I'm like, bros, can I open? Can I do? He's like, and you know, campus crowd, university crowd they are the craziest people you can perform. I was like, no, don't worry. And my friends, they already gave me some jokes. I picked some jokes from Night of a Thousand Laughs, and they say this one. So they were like, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he advised me not to, but I insisted, and I got on stage. And my brother, I can tell you that my career almost died there. Like I bombed.
Right.
You know when you have this crowd in a very big auditorium, and the first joke, they were looking at me. Second joke, they looked. Then now this is what they used to do then. The third joke, they started doing this. The first person started, and then the hand started increasing.
Right.
Bra, 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 bra. Then someone started saying, "Go away, go away."
Really?
Go, and you know when the sound increases, "Go away." Go, then it's like hundreds of people screaming, "Go," and you're trying to tell a joke.
Oh my God.
And I insisted that I have to deliver the joke.
Right.
And the next thing I saw a bottle of water coming.
Oh.
And I took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say that was my first gig, but that was the first experience with stand-up comedy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So CY. So since you started your career, I know you've been doing comedy for a while now.
21 years now.
Wow. So 21 years. We're gonna ask you, what's been the highlight? What's been the best part of the journey for you?
Truth be told, the best part of my journey was when I taped my special last year.
Okay.
My comedy special, which we're hoping that Netflix will pick up because we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And the title of the comedy special is called CY, The American Adventure.
Right. You know, funny enough, I wasn't here in Maryland when last year when it happened, but I saw it on social media. I saw it on all of my friends here in the DMV, and I remember a lot of people that I knew were going for it, and I was like, I wish I was in town.
And you would have gotten a free ticket.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one.
No, definitely.
Right. Okay, so 21 years you said, right? We want to know what's been the best performance or the most memorable, you know?
So the most memorable performance I've had is okay. It was. This was when I performed for there's this millionaire guy in Nigeria. His name is, what's his name again? He owns an oil company. So he had his 40th birthday. This was like, many years ago? Like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in. So the guy said he wanted to host the entertainment industry. Like, so the birthday was like a week.
Okay.
He had a week celebration. So
money.
Listen, there was money that day.
Right.
So the whole week. Then I think on one of this a particular Saturday, he said he wanted to host the entertainment industry. So it was comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so the king of comedy in Nigeria invited every comedian that was available.
Sure.
So I heard about it because I was looking for, then you trying to get some limelight. So I got there and I was put on to perform, and we had, I think the president of Togo, the president of Ghana, and some presidents were there. And we had some great guys in the industry, RMD, Onye Kanwenu, and these great people. And I did a joke. There's this very popular joke I used to do then, and it cracked. The guy that actually, the producer of Night of 1,000 Laughs was there, and he saw me, and immediately asked his PA to come get my number.
Right. Wow.
And they put me on Night of 1,000 Laughs.
Wow.
The next year, so that was one of my biggest highlights. One of my highest point anyway. I would say, because I've had a couple of them.
Okay, so I was gonna say that A Night of 1,000 Laughs, when you talk of Nigerian comedy, it's classic.
It is.
It's classic. So kudos to you for joining that lineup. Because not everyone, even the new ones now, they can't say they've done that, you know?
Yep.
So that's nice. Okay. So CY, The American Adventure, right?
Great.
What was your best memory of that production since you were headlining it?
It was, the best part of the production was the fact that I was able to actually pour out my, be on stage for an hour.
An hour, okay.
Because I've done that before, but not professionally. Maybe at, I remember I did an event for a company and something went wrong with some of the things they were supposed to do. So I started talking.
Right.
I started cracking jokes. I went on for like, I think an hour plus. So, but this one was very intentional. And I wrote the jokes, and the jokes were actually tailored around, the theme. So that was, one of the, the best part of that production for me, that I could be on stage for an hour telling jokes I wrote. I co-wrote because I also had some people write for me. Shout out to Open Tita and Nothing Do Me. Yeah, the comedians in Nigeria,
Right.
Yeah, so that was it for me.
Okay, so up and coming comedians now in Nigeria, abroad, Europe, US, you have any advice for them? Because they want to do that one day. They want to follow in the footsteps of you legends who've done your own show and who've been in classics like Night of 1,000 Lives. Yeah. What advice do you have for up and coming comedians?
Oh, I have a couple of them, but I would like to say this. First of all, I think one of the challenges we're having right now in the industry is that every young comedian wants to have that overnight success, which is something, I'm not saying it's not possible.
Right.
A comedian once said something, I don't know if you know Makboro. He said it in Pidgin. I'm going to say it in Pidgin and I interpret for our international audience. He said, some people they talk, say, I just come. He say, I don't they come, now you don't see me. In other words, people say, I just popped out from nowhere.
Right.
I've been coming, but you didn't take notice. So a lot of these young folks, they just see success these days. They see people, the likes of the Baskets, the AY, Acapella, and Forever, and these guys, having successes. They don't know that these guys have grinded, or people like us, we've grinded. And I'm not saying you should suffer before you make it, but there are certain things you need to learn, certain rules, because comedy is a craft.
Right.
And every craft has its rules. It has its I don't want to say boundaries, but it has some things, there are skills to it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them think it's just holding the mic and saying something funny. But the advice I would have for them is try to learn the ropes, be patient, because like they say, old wine tastes better.
Right.
I'm not saying you should spend 100 years before you bloom, but I would say try to sit down under some tutelage. We did.
Mm-hmm.
We had mentors. I had mentors that I used to go follow to events, to sit down and watch them do their thing.
Right.
Then I learned one or two things.
Right.
I remember the Nigerian King of Comedy said something to me one time. He said, "You don't have to be vulgar to be funny." I mean, no shade to anybody that says it's vulgar jokes or whatever. I mean, I don't have a problem, honestly. But I mean, he said you don't have to.
That's true.
If you're funny, you're funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I picked that because it's my style of comedy. I do ethical kind of comedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to lead to the next question, because I feel like comedy is so essential for Nigerians.
Yep.
Due to the state of the country.
Wala.
Government, fuel, electricity, whatever. We use comedy to better our lives.
Honestly.
So how do you tailor your comedy for us, for Nigerians? Because comedy is so important to us.
My materials are actually I tell stories about where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we have a lot of funny stories.
Right.
Nigerians are generally funny, I can tell you.
I agree.
So, and there are a lot of funny stories. So I pick from those stories, from my experiences. For example, coming into this country, I tell the story of my culture shock, that I didn't know that here the way they call things is different from the way they call them. For example, what you call biscuits here.
Right.
In America, it's not what we call biscuits. I went into a 7-Eleven. I told them I want to buy biscuits. And the guy was looking at me. I said, "Yes, biscuits." He said, "No, we don't sell no biscuits." Biscuits. And this thing was across the road, Popeye.
Right.
And I was like, "No, Popeye's biscuits." And I was like, "Biscuits."
Right.
So I crossed and went to Popeye's, and they gave me something that looks like cake.
Right.
And I came back, I was pissed off. I said, "Sir, this is not what I'm looking for."
Right.
I said, "Biscuit." Biscuits. He said, "Oh, cookies." I said,
Cookie.
yeah, so
Right.
those are the stories, and we have lots of those stories that I tailor it to, most especially Nigerians can relate to these things.
Right.
Most especially Nigerians that are here in America,
Right.
they relate to these stories. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good question that you brought up other Nigerians that are here, because there are a lot of Nigerian comedians abroad, back home. Back home, they'll come abroad will go back home.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask you a question I don't think maybe you've been asked before.
Yep.
All right.
Shoot.
Are Nigerian comedians competitive amongst each other?
Oh yes, there's rivalry.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. I won't sit down here and tell you no. We have, which it never used to be, but it's a growing industry.
Right.
Any industry that grows, it's normal anyway.
It's normal.
It's normal. So it never used to be like that. I remember then, as comedians, if I'm doing a show, it's like every comedian is coming to my show to support me.
Right.
They even give you jokes. Say this material. But now
it's different, is it?
It's quite different. Now they're trying to see how they can get your position. I want to be that guy. I want to be the one that is having the limelight. But which is normal.
Yeah.
So it's There is.
Okay. And I think that it's okay to a degree because like competition, it breeds a better service, a better product.
Exactly.
It makes people want to do better and tell better jokes, give a better performance. So that's good.
Yeah.
Now we know that the Nigerian, let's say, comedy industry abroad and back home, we have, I want to say, different styles of comedy.
Yeah.
All right. So as a comedian, for you personally, do you ever have like a conflict with your religion, your beliefs, your morals, and then your jokes that you tell to people?
This is a very good question. Okay. Let me say this way. I started out.
Right.
I started out in church.
Sure.
And we used to call it gospel comedy.
Okay. Which,
I've come to understand. This is my opinion. Some people might not like this. There is nothing like gospel comedy. Because first of all, gospel is relative.
Right.
We have the gospel of Jesus Christ. We have the gospel of, different people have their gospel.
Sure.
So when you say gospel, which kind of gospel are you talking about?
That's true.
What I say is, and then someone told me, he said, don't put a label on your brand because it's going to restrict you. For example,
that's true.
You say you're gospel comedy and some billionaire Muslim wants to do something.
Exactly.
And he says then he does a research about it and he says, oh, he does gospel comedy. Oh, I don't want somebody to come and be calling Jesus, which, you shouldn't be ashamed of your religion. But,
sure.
And the person also told me, he said, do we have gospel bankers?
Right.
I said, no. He said, do we have gospel engineers?
No.
He said, what we have is Christians in comedy, Christians that do banking work, Christians.
Sure.
So your religion shouldn't conflict with your career or whatever you're doing.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So if we shouldn't allow, let's say, our personal beliefs to interfere with our professionalism, our work, and our services, given the kind of jokes that you tell, because I'm familiar with your comedy, have you ever told a joke that someone wanted to fight you, someone was upset at you, they're charging from you from the crowd, or anything like that before?
I wouldn't say really charging at me,
okay,
but it was after I finished cracking the joke. I came down, the person called me and said, there's this joke you told. Please don't tell that joke again. And I was like, which joke was that? And she actually mentioned the joke, which, okay, I won't, tell the joke,
right.
But I'll just tell. The joke was about stutterers.
Okay.
People that stutter.
Sure.
And which I understood the angle she was coming from, but deep down I was like, I wasn't actually, because she said you don't know, some people here have family members that stutter, or some people here stutter and they won't feel. I'm like, well, there are people, other jokes that I said here, probably people had those kind of problems, but I wasn't trying to knock off what she was saying, but at the same time, I was like, it's a joke.
Sure.
And she didn't say it the way I'm saying it. She was like, please can you not try not to say that joke again? And I felt she was attacking me, and I was like, whatever, I walked away.
Right. What can you do? You come to a comedy show.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal, obviously.
Yeah.
But I get that some people find it sensitive. Okay. Was she Nigerian?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
trust me.
I'm gonna ask you another question.
You know all those Nigerians that pretend to be very classy.
Yeah.
Those aunties.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna get into, since you brought that up, let's get into different kinds of Nigerians, as we're all different tribes and we're one Nigeria for now. I don't know the future, but we'll
Trust me, we'll have more.
I would hope so. Do you feel like there are certain jokes that certain tribes like compared to others? Compared to if you're Igbo, you're Yoruba, you're Edo, you're Hausa, do you feel like these people like these kind of jokes, or this tribe they like these kind of laughs and stuff like that?
Well, I will say, okay, let me say it this way. The Yorubas are very. They are people that I don't know. I just like them. I mean, for some reason. Because they are people, they are, I think they are very open-minded. Okay. Yorubas are very open-minded. I don't want to say they are more educated, but it's just that they are open-minded. They don't take things too serious. Sure. But the Igbos, I think they are too sensitive, most especially when it comes to their culture. Okay. There are jokes you say. I mean, I've had this experiences. I'm saying this based on my own experience. Okay. Before people start saying that you know, some people might say, this is what you are saying, so you are trying to say that. So it's based on my own experience. I've had situations that I'm trying to, I'm cracking a joke about you, and, they are actually taking it too serious. Right. But Yorubas, they just laugh at and just move on. Right. So I think the sensitivity is what I would say is the problem, not really the kind of jokes they like. Igbos like jokes that you hail them, make them feel very important. Okay. Importer, exporter, tinkoter, pure water. Yes. And yeah.
All right, so as we get into that, we're also going to get into your favorite type of events or your favorite type of comedy to deliver. I've seen you in a lot of different places. I've seen you on stage. I've seen you at weddings. I've seen you, like comedy specials. Do you have a favorite niche or a favorite place you like to perform?
Oh, yes. My favorite is doing stand-up comedy, which is like doing comedy without emceeing or any other thing. Like maybe performing at comedy clubs or a comedy show. Because as a matter of fact, I think Basketball made a statement recently that he took like a 5 years hiatus from comedy because he wasn't enjoying it based on the fact, based on the nature of how comedy in Nigeria is run. You have to MC an event to make money, right? Which is not supposed to be, right. Which is also my school of thought, or how I feel. I want to just do comedy. I want people to come, pay money or pay me just to perform, do comedy. I don't have to. Honestly, see, my brother, people call you to MC event, they say, so MC, in fact, some people even call you DJ. They say DJ, and you're like, sorry, as MC. They are the same now. Are they not the same? I say no. So, what are you going to do at the event? I say I'm emceeing the event. What else will you do? I say okay, I'll crack jokes. No, I mean, are you going to play games? You will play games. Right. So it's becoming so. For me, it's like taking away from what I really love to do.
All right, so in Nigeria now, especially on social media, we have a lot of skit makers. Yeah. Different ages, men, women, different tribes, people that are, very talented. Some of them, it's like they're trying to break into comedy. Yeah. It's like they're trying to kind of, I don't know.
Not trying to, they're actually doing that now.
Yeah, so what is the difference now in our society for us as Nigerians between a skit maker and a comedian? Because it's like the lines are being blurred now.
So I would answer that question this way. There's always an involvement in every industry. Okay. Stand-up comedy. As a matter of fact, skit making has always been there, but it's not. It's the internet actually gave it this much prominence. Okay. The likes of this German comedian, what's his name? That doesn't talk.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh God.
I don't know his name, but I know him.
Oh God, I'm trying to. So he's been doing the skits. Those were skits in the. I think I can't even remember the year he was doing all that.
Right.
Those were skits. But because the internet wasn't available, so I mean, it wasn't that prominent. The stand-up comedy is because stand-up comedy is something that is because stand-up comedy is something we talk about issues, and that's why it's this. I mean, it's very popular. Now, a lot of stand-up comedians are actually doing skits, and a lot of skit makers are actually good stand-up comedians, but they don't know. That's why the ones that now discover, they now try to branch out.
Right.
And go and start doing stand-up comedy, because it is stand-up comedy that will give you that. There is something stand-up comedy does. It gives you. It's like coming full circle.
Right.
Skit making, because a lot of them are making money. They are making more money than even some stand-up comedians, like the big names. But you see that thing about stand-up comedy. It's like you're coming full circle. Okay. Look at DC Youngfly. Right. DC Youngfly, I remember I used to watch his 1 minute, 2 minute, this thing he used to do there on Instagram and all that. And he took it out, and today he's a stand-up comedian doing very great. So many of them like that. So I think there's no limitation, or the only difference is that internet has given these people a bigger platform than stand-up comedy. Now it's left for the stand-up comedians to start doing skits as well, because it's what is in vogue. It's what is, pushing these people. Right. I remember there used to be this fight back home in Nigeria. Skit makers are not stand-up comedians. So, but guess what? When they started seeing these guys making so much money, they started, everybody, like, can you put me in your skits? Organize. The big names, help us, So I think you shouldn't discriminate against anybody, because the bottom line is, if the person is not stealing from you, is just the only place the comedians had issues, the stand-up comedians had issues with them, was that they were taking their jokes and making them into skits. Oh, okay. So they could not tell those jokes again. So that was where the only place they had problems with them.
So that's actually a good question. So how do stand-up comedians protect their jokes? How do they protect their material? Can it even be protected?
You can't. even in America, you can't protect a joke. Right. Because I've heard someone attack Cedric the Entertainer on a joke. One of this, was it? It was Cat Williams. Okay. That attacked him, that he took a joke of his, and it went on for a while. And it's the only thing is that's why you have to tape your stuff. Okay. Tape it and don't put it out there. I don't know if you know, Kevin Hart doesn't allow phones in his shows. Right. So did Dave Chappelle. Exactly. Just to avoid all that stuff. Right. Okay. All right.
Given that we're on the topic of jokes now, is there any joke that's off limits? Is there any joke you feel like you can't say?
Oh yeah.
Because some people, they get offended, whether it's loss of a loved one, women, know.
I mean, I basically talk about anything. The only thing is I don't do vulgar jokes. Okay. I don't do vulgar jokes. Right. I talk about women. I do jokes about women and so many things, but I don't go too graphic. Right. I don't take it too far. Then also I don't tell jokes about physically challenged people. Right. I stay off that radar, which I feel every comedian should. Physically challenged people, except you. there are some comedians that can pull it off. I've seen what's this guy's name? He's an American comedian. He's actually late now.
Oh, okay.
Benny Mac. Benny Mac. He pulled it off so that every time he says that joke,
right?
Even people who are going through that stuff, they will laugh.
Yeah,
except you're very, very smart and intelligent.
Right.
But I always advise stay off, those kind of jokes. Yeah.
Rest in peace to Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
He's
one of the people I look up to seriously.
Very, he's one of those great
kings of comedy.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you now. So compared to Nigerians abroad and Nigerians back home, who's the harder audience and who's the easier audience?
Oh, yeah, the audience here.
Yeah, well, it's easier here or it's harder?
It's harder here.
Oh, why is that?
Because you have to start telling your jokes in English.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you this joke. True life, but we made it into a joke. So we were Mnet, multi-choice, they call them Mnet, They had this thing they call Mnet Comedy Club. So they took comedians from Nigeria to Kenya, Uganda, South Africa to do shows, And one of the rules was your jokes have to be in English. And most of Nigerians, their jokes are in Pidgin.
Right.
And they can't really speak too much of good English. And so this particular comedian was picked to go to, I think it was Kenya.
Okay.
And we got there. We were looking for the guy. I saw him enter the bathroom. So we went to the bathroom. This guy was standing in front of the mirror trying to crack his joke in English, rehearse. So we now stood there and watched him, and he was like, so as I were the wakari. Oh, no. So the guy was wakari. Oh,
Wakari.
Wow. The guy come and be, oh no, not be come and be. So, guess when it's international audience, it's tougher because one, you have to learn the culture. Like in America, I have to start learning the culture. I have to unlearn a lot of things.
Right.
Learn the culture, to be able to reach out to them so that they can also understand and, laugh at the jokes. Because the bottom line is, people laughing at your jokes. If nobody's laughing, then you're just telling a story, So back home, I can just speak my pidgin and say something and everybody laughs.
Okay, that makes sense. And since you've been doing comedy for such a long time, I'm sure you've catered to crowds of different colors, nationalities. So I'm gonna ask you, what's funny to Nigerians that's not funny to other people, whether they're black or white or another African, ethnicity or nationality.
I think, to be very honest, the white people, they don't really care. They don't, honestly, they don't really care. They can laugh at anything. But you see, my African American people, there are certain things you say and they're like, nah, don't go there. Then also, the Nigerian audience, they are also sensitive when it comes to religion.
Okay.
When you start talking religion, because we're very religious people, then when you start talking about, I think politics as well.
I can
those are, sensitive areas.
Okay, so it's April 2023 now. As Nigerians, we've seen the results of the 2023 presidential elections and for the whole country. How do you feel about the whole process of everything?
I feel the way most Nigerians feel.
Okay.
To be very honest.
Okay.
I think to a lot of Nigerians, it was our hopes were so high. We thought that this was going to be the turning point for Nigeria as a nation, and also a lot of people were tired. Nigerians generally, a lot of Nigerians, most especially young Nigerians, they were just tired, you know. So they really thought that this was going to be like a turning point for us, and we get the right person in there. Because and this is it. People say, "Oh, are you saying this other person wasn't, you know, good, or Tinubu?" Let me just say, Tinubu wasn't good. It was just the fact that people just didn't want the old heads.
Yeah.
We just wanted a breath of fresh air. Someone a lot younger, new, with ideas and all that. That was it for you know, for Nigerians, and even myself, because I'm like, do we have to keep recycling these people? Let's just try someone else. So for me, that was my experience.
So let me ask you. So Peter Obi, he's been in, you know, not so much active in, like, you know, the limelight. I think he wants to challenge, if he chooses to challenge the elections in court. Do you think that's something that he should do? And as we as Nigerians, or whoever supports him, do you think that they should, you know, encourage him to further that?
If the law supports that, why not? If he wants to do it, and he feels it's going to get him the results he wants, or even if it turns out, at least let him give it a try.
Okay, that's fair.
There is nothing wrong with going to court as long as the law permits it.
Sure. Okay. Well, you know, we've had a good time. Thank you so much for coming. I'm gonna get your thoughts on a couple of things, because, you know, Nigeria, something's always happening.
Yeah,
you know?
That's my people.
Right. So BBN Naija, you've been seeing the BBN. How do you feel about all those BBN seasons? You know.
Okay. I've never been a fan of BBN. I used to watch it like when it just started. Then you know, Big Brother, and I think it was Big Brother Africa.
Right.
Then Big Brother West Africa. Then Big Brother. I used to watch it, but I wasn't that you know, how do I put it? I wasn't that type that I'm just every now and then, I want to know what's happening. And also for reasons being that at some point I was like, what's the whole point of this thing? Then I think lately somebody was trying to explain the concept that actually the original concept of Big Brother Nigeria has been, you know, rubbished. That the concept of Big Brother Nigeria was to bring different people from different spheres of life to see how they will thrive. A doctor, an entertainer, an engineer, put them in a house and see how they interact socially. So that was the whole concept. But now it's about, you know, I think because of the way society is it's now a competitive thing. So it's about showing off what you have, and you know, it's all sorts of craziness. So I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay. We also have in Nigeria now, you know, medical doctors leaving, healthcare professionals leaving.
Japa syndrome.
Exactly.
Japa things.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, from time, my mom used to say it, from time immemorial. People have been relocating. Abraham left the land. Even God told him, he said, my brother, if you not come out here, you go die. Hunger will kill you. If things are not going well, and you know you have the resources to
leave,
you move. And also, someone said something recently. He said, before you jackpot, be sure you have something. You have something to give, or that will help you, you know, bounce back. So if doctors are leaving, I won't blame them, because these people are owed salaries. I heard a minister say something like, "Oh, we spend our money to train these doctors, and they end up, you know, leaving the country." I'm like, really? Which money did you spend in training these people? Because I know these guys pay their school fees. they pay their school fees and they pay their tuition fees and they come out, they spend, I think doctors do how many years? Like 7 years?
At least.
Housemanship and all that.
Residency.
And they come out and they work in a place and you're owing them 3 months salary, 4 months salary, and they don't have equipment to work with. Then if things go wrong, they blame them because of, the laxity of the government. So why wouldn't they leave? Everybody wants to live a good life.
That's it's unfortunate. I think they have like a law now they're trying to pass in Nigeria about preventing them from even leaving. And I'm like,
that they have to stay for how many years before they can leave. It won't happen.
God forbid.
It can't happen.
Okay, so that's back home. Here, Donald Trump, he's been indicted. He's gonna drop an album and mixtape.
My God.
How do you feel about a president, a former U.S. president, former, indicted by the law?
My brother, it's America, man. You can't I think for me, Donald Trump was just being Donald Trump.
Right.
When people say, "Oh, I'm like, why are people surprised?" I remember years back, I used to follow The Apprentice, and I knew this guy. I've watched him. I've seen him do his thing. So when he became a president and he was just being who he is, and I was surprised. I'm like, this guy has always been like this, except you never knew him.
Right.
You never watched The Apprentice. So, I mean, him being indicted is something that, of course, in America, they say nobody's above the law, which I think they are trying to tell us that you can beat the system, you can, and I don't have a problem with that. If he committed a crime, I mean, let the court, the law take his full course. But if he's not found guilty,
Sure. And our current president, Joe Biden, I think they're saying he wants to do a second lap.
He shouldn't, please.
Why not?
Well, I don't like is it age shaming people. If there's something but I think the medically, I don't know, I might be wrong, that when you get to a certain age, your brain doesn't function the way, like it doesn't process fast. So I think when you get to a certain age, that's why we have the retirement age, right?
Right.
So I think, which he said he wasn't going to, I think he said something like that.
Yeah, I think I heard he said he wasn't, and then now it's like
he's saying he is. But for me, I would say Baba should go and rest, honestly. Buhari has even cried out. I think last year or which year he said, "I'm tired." Buhari said he's tired. That's why he's not saying anything again. Yeah. Have you heard from him recently?
No.
Anything that happens in Nigeria, he's not saying anything. Yeah. Because your body can only take, as much as it can. It can't go beyond. He said. So I think Biden should just relax, man.
Okay. That's understandable. And lastly, we'll go back to Naija. I kid you not. Every day I open Instagram, I see Portable.
Oh, God.
And to be honest with you, I don't want to say, Porter, I'll shake his hand. Yeah. I don't know if I'll bring it to my house, bro, but I'll shake his hand because you know what? I know people have opinions as Nigerians. Yes. But something about him is very genuine. Something about him is very real.
I wish somebody was here to hear this thing you're saying. There's a friend of mine, Isaac Gerard.
Okay, I know him.
Isaac he was like, oh, his career is done. I'm like, listen, you don't know what this guy is doing.
Right.
This guy is making use of the internet.
Yeah.
And he's chunking out content. And you think, I'm like, guess what? He's gonna stay longer than some people that even do good music or do better music.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that guy. And I just recently when they released him from the prison.
Right.
And he went to the mosque to pray. I laughed so hard. I'm like, how did they release somebody from prison? He says, they were asking me where he said, I'm more lucky.
Right.
It was so funny.
Right.
And people don't understand.
Right.
And guess what? That guy is not stupid.
He's not.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's very intentional.
Mm-hmm,
so I love him. He's very entertaining.
Yeah.
He is. I think he knows his onions. He's doing his business well. He even has. I think he opened a lounge. He has a very big lounge. You know, doing business.
Wow.
So
more success to him.
Yes, sir.
Because as funny as he is, his music. I know they have these new terms now. I'm getting up there in age. I mean, it's Fuji. But with one kind of
the Afrobeat thing.
Yeah, Raz, you
exactly.
know, I love it.
And trust me, I told someone, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if that guy does some international events.
Yeah.
I know, like Lai, Born Monkey. I'm like, have you noticed that recently he was with Emmanuel Adebayo in Ghana?
I think I saw that.
He shook hands with that guy. It tells you that somebody's watching.
Somebody's watching, yeah.
And it will catch the eye of some international label or something that will like, we can do something with this guy.
Yeah, because aside his music, which I like, he can dance.
Yep.
Right? I used to be able to do all those kind of leg work, but gone are those days, you know. But he can dance, he can do good music. Let him get into acting now.
Listen, it's gone.
Yeah.
Portable, if you watch this thing, tell them to put you in one of these movies. The way you blew. Okay.
Alright, we'll see why. It was a pleasure having you. This has been fun.
Really appreciate it.
We'd love to have you back again.
Most definitely, anytime, man.
Yeah,
anytime,
you know, I know you have upcoming. A
show, I have my yearly show I do. Last year was I taped my special, but this year we're doing a comedy festival. Okay. It's called the Motherland Comedy Festival. So we're bringing comedians from different parts of Africa, but who are based here in America. I mean, we can get the ones that live outside America, that would be good. But we've gotten some very big names here on one stage, like Kenya. We're bringing comedians from Kenya, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria. So it's happening on the 3rd of September, 2023, rather. 2023, and it's going to be at the Bowie Center for the Performing Arts. Okay. More details, we'll put it out there on my social media platform.
Sounds good, man. Yeah. And all the best. I hope it goes well. I'll be there.
Yeah, please.
I have to put on my calendar and circle that date.
3rd of September, Labor Day weekend.
2023.
Yeah, 2023. Can I shout out my handle?
Of course, man.
So follow me on Instagram, CY Comedy TV. CY is spelled CEEY Comedy TV 1. Then my Facebook, I've been trying to change that name. It's my government name, Kingsley CY Oba. Kingsley CY Oba. And Twitter is CY Comedy TV. What again? Which other? TikTok is CY Comedy TV. You know, that's it.
Okay, well, we'll put that up. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, my brother.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Really appreciate it.